Today, we're putting on our detective hats and diving deep into the past. We're on the hunt for ancient India's incredible and in some cases totally lost civilizations. Ready? Let's go. So think about this for a second. Imagine a culture that built these massive, sprawling cities, traded with people across the seas, and just thrived for thousands of years, but they left behind no written history, no epic stories, no records of their kings or queens. So where do you even start? How do you tell their story? Well, the answer is you have to dig. You follow the breadcrumbs they left behind, broken bits of pottery, the foundations of their houses, all the little artifacts of their daily lives. Archaeology basically becomes our textbook, and every single thing we find is like turning a new page. We're going to start with one of the world's great ancient cultures, the Indus Valley Civilization. Its true size and genius were hidden right under our feet for literally millennia. And we're talking about a huge span of time here. I mean, its roots go way back to 6000 BCE. But it was during what's called the mature phase, from about 2600 to 1900 BCE, that this civilization really hit its peak. They were building some of the most advanced cities anywhere in the Bronze Age. Our whole understanding of this lost world really kicked off in the 1920s. It all started with clues from two enormous cities that would completely rewrite the history books, Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro. So meet Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro. They were discovered just 1 year apart, and they became the twin giants that defined this entire civilization. At Harappa, archaeologists found these huge granaries, which tells you they had this incredibly organized system for farming and food storage. Then over at Mohenjo-Daro, they found the famous Great Bath, which is this masterpiece of ancient waterproofing, plus iconic artifacts like that little bronze dancing girl. And let's be clear, we're not talking about some random, messy villages here. These were meticulously planned cities, laid out on a grid, with advanced drainage systems and separate public spaces. This was the work of a really sophisticated and highly organized society. But here's the thing, the story was way bigger than just two cities. As archaeologists started looking further afield, all across India and Pakistan, the map of this ancient world just kept getting bigger and bigger, and a lot more complex. A perfect example? Let's talk about Dholavira in Gujarat. It was discovered back in 1968, and it's so incredibly well preserved that it was recently named a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And that's a huge deal, a major international thumbs up. You see, Dholavira was like a layer cake of society. It had a fortified citadel up top, probably for the rulers. Then there was a middle town for merchants and officials, and a lower town for everybody else. But the real genius here, it was their water management. In a super dry area, they built this incredible system of massive reservoirs. It's just a stunning piece of engineering. And get this, the map is still changing. The site of Rakhigarh over in Haryana is now believed to be the single biggest Harappan site in the entire Indian subcontinent. First place. And you know what else? They weren't just land-based. At another spot in Gujarat called Lothal, archaeologists found a man-made dockyard. This was proof that the Harappans were a maritime people, building ports and trading by sea. Okay, so for a really long time, when people talked about ancient Indian cities, they were pretty much just talking about the Indus Valley. But very recently, archaeology has started to uncover a whole new chapter, one that's unfolding way, way down south. So we've got this amazing picture of what's happening up in the Northwest. But what if I told you that some of the biggest clues were found 2,000 kilometers away, and maybe even earlier? This is where the story takes a really fascinating turn. Down in Tamil Nadu, sites like Keeladi have uncovered an urban civilization from India's Sangam era. That's the classical age of Tamil culture, and it dates back to at least 580 BCE. But even more amazing, discoveries at another site, Civilisation, push that timeline all the way back to 1155 BC. That's over 3,200 years ago. And Keeladi was the real deal. The digs there show a literate society that used the Tamil Brahmi script. They had high-quality brick buildings, advanced terracotta wells. They even found stuff that proves they were trading with Rome. It's a snapshot of a complex, bustling urban culture. Okay, but this might be the most mind-blowing clue of all. Look at this. On the left, you've got a symbol from the Indus script, which we still can't read. And on the right, a really similar mark found on a piece of pottery in Keeladi. They're separated by thousands of kilometers and hundreds of years. So what do you think?
a total coincidence? Or could this be a link, a thread, connecting these two ancient worlds? It just opens up so many questions.
So what does all of this really tell us? It tells us that history isn't some dusty old book sitting on a shelf. It's a living, breathing thing. And the story is constantly being updated with every shovel of dirt that gets moved. And that's why this matters so much. These discoveries in the South aren't just adding another chapter. They're changing the whole book. They're filling in these huge gaps in our knowledge, creating a bridge between India's super ancient Iron Age and the later periods of history that we know a lot more about. They're the missing link. The big takeaway here is that the very ground we walk on, it's like a massive library filled with untold stories. From the huge cities of the Indus Valley to the busy towns on the riverbanks of ancient Tamil Nadu, we're just now realizing that we've only read the first few volumes. So, of course, that leaves us with one last, really exciting question. With so much history still buried out there,